Gareth Cliff, host of the Gareth Cliff Show and host of the Dan Corder Show, Dan Corder. So welcome to all of you. Sophie, let me start with you. A lot of interest suddenly focused on South Africa, on this question of white genocide, a deliberate targeting of white farmers in South Africa. And it all blew up in the White House in another extraordinary scene there in the world's most powerful room. How much of what you watched was true, do you think?
Well, none of what I watched was true in terms of the president of the United States of America using those visuals in terms of the papers he had, because the pictures that you saw of people wearing white uniform were the pictures taken by a Reuters photographer in the DRC, where you have health services helping in that part of the country. On the issue of the video, Julius Malema chanting that slogan, that liberation slogan, he does it all the time. It's very strange that since the launch of the EFF, Malema has been doing this. Some people in the ANC were doing this pre-1994. Now, that is why yesterday, when I asked the former South African president, Thabo Mbeki, about the chant, he said, this is a chant, and it's not a directive to kill. He even pointed out that during the TRC, one of the
it is though, isn't it? Sorry to jump in, but it is. Yeah, but hang on, Sophie. It clearly is a directive. It literally says, kill the birds, kill the farmers. I mean, what more could be more direct than that? So I don't think defending that chant from what he's obviously chanting is a particularly good way of defending all this. I mean, I think there are perfectly legitimate arguments, which I'm sure we'll come to, about why there is not a white genocide going on.
What I'm saying,
but the chanting of kill the birds, kill the farmers is pretty unambiguous.
Piers, give me a chance. Give me a chance. Give me a chance. I'm saying Malema has been chanting, and not only Malema, many other people. I'm not defending the song, and I'm not saying some people are not aggrieved or some people don't feel pain when it's been chanted. I'm saying this has been happening for a long time now. There has never been an example where this specific chant at a specific place, there's a clear indication that there was a chant and somebody was immediately killed. But of course it's true. We have a serious problem of crime in this country, and not only directed at our fellow white compatriots. All of us, we are affected. We've lost families. We, at some point in time, faced a similar situation where we were confronted with crime. I'm just saying, if President Trump can visit South Africa or speak to many other people in South Africa, not one section, he will get a different perspective. Because when you look, weekend in particular, you know, we Africans, we normally have funerals weekend. Some of those many funerals, it's black people who have been killed. Therefore, many people are affected by crime.
Well, I think that's right. I think that's the point. That was the point.
Enough it's not been done to address crime.
Okay, I mean, look, I am a friend of Johan Rupert, who was the South African billionaire who was in the Oval Office at the time. I play in his golf tournament every year, and he made that very point, I thought, very forcefully. Let me bring in Dr. Roots. So your position is that there's a white genocide. So to which I just want to start by saying there were 26,232 murders last year in South Africa, according to the South African Police Service figures. Of those, 44 were killings of people within the farming community, and of those, 8 were farmers. So my obvious question from those statistics alone is, where is the evidence of a white genocide?
Well, thank you, Piers, and I'm glad that you asked a question like that, because I have to be very clear that this has never been my position, that that there is a white genocide. Our position is, however, that we have a very serious problem in South Africa with genocidal rhetoric, with politicians chanting, encouraging a white genocide, encouraging this. And unfortunately, I have to add, we have a very serious problem with the legal system protecting people when they chant about genocide, when they chant about exterminating minorities. And unfortunately, I have to add, we have a very serious problem with journalists trying to defend this chant. So it is a serious problem. And there are other crime phenomena as well in South Africa. But what makes the farm attacks particularly unique is a variety of factors. One, that it's happening in disproportionate numbers, because you have to consider the size of the group within context. Secondly, the very, very unique levels, extreme levels of brutality that affect these farmers. And then what also makes this a very unique crime phenomenon is it's the only crime phenomenon that I can think of in the South African context that is actively romanticized and encouraged by politicians, and with regard to which the romanticization thereof is protected by the justice system and defended by journalists.
Okay, Dan Corder, I've been doing a lot of research in the last...
It's not true.
Hang on, Sophie.
I just want to defend the journalist. No, I want to clarify. No journalist in this country has defended or supported any crime in this country directed to any citizen in this country.
Can I make a quick response?
The very same people today who are talking about, they have been saying the justice system in this country is very independent. The Constitutional Court ruled that this chant, it's not unconstitutional. What must we do as journalists? Must we violate the laws of the country when the highest court in the land has made a ruling?
Sophie, sorry to jump in again, but I do want to
saying there's no genocide.
I do want to let the other panelists have a chance to speak. I would just say we should all be able to agree that any political leader who chants "kill the Boers, kill the farmers," whoever he says he should kill, it's disgusting, it's outrageous, it shouldn't be happening. I've taken him on about it directly, Julius Malema, on Twitter. He didn't like it, but you know what? Tough. He's actually calling for people to be killed. And I don't care how long he's done it for, it's completely wrong. What I would say, though, Dan Corder, it's interesting to hear Dr. Root say that he does not support the notion of a white genocide. I'm not really sure that there's any evidence for a white genocide. What there's evidence of, and Johan Rupert made this point, I thought, very powerfully in the Oval Office, is that there's evidence of a massive crime problem, that there are an unbelievable number of murders in South Africa, predominantly of black people, and that's the real crisis that needs to be dealt with.
Totally, Piers. Thank you for having me. So I think that there are three things that we need to just agree that all the data supports and affirms in South Africa. And this comes from independent regulatory bodies, from independent researchers from around the world in South Africa. The first one is that the vast majority of white South Africans live a better quality of life now than the vast majority of black South Africans currently living will ever be able to live and could dream of living. So that's point one. Point two, crime patterns are absolutely clear across this country. The richer and whiter you are, and usually based on what I've just said, the whiter you are, the richer you are. That's an undeniable correlation based on historical rigging of our economic system during and before apartheid. The richer and whiter you are, the less likely you are to suffer crime, and the poorer and blacker you are, the more likely you are to suffer crime. And then thirdly, there is no evidence of targeted race-based murders in this country.